To me, art is a way to express yourself. I think that for me personally, it's become very therapeutic. That's how I use it, and I think that that produces the best work when I kind of draw on things that are really affecting me emotionally. I think that's when I produce the best work. Hi, I'm Logan Ripley, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of my artwork. The inspiration for my work comes from a lot of different sources, but I generally like to do something that I've had personal experience with because I think that that creates work that's more personal and therefore more meaningful, has a lot more depth, a lot more layers to it. This top shelf here are wooden blocks that some of them I've painted, some of them obviously have not, but they've all got thread tied around them, and the main idea for that was just the phrase hanging on by a thread. So that's where those images came from, and so I was trying to create something that was really fragile but had substance to it. This is a piece of plywood that I painted on. I used mostly acrylics, some nail polish and stuff, and I went through and painted several layers, different images, and then I went back over with a knife and just scraped away the layers. And it's kind of, when you actually go through the process, it's kind of violent but liberating at the same time, so I think that's where the therapeutic aspect of it comes in for me. This piece was actually an installation piece. I had it set up in an attic, but I couldn't keep them in that space, so I took this piece of drywall and set it up here, which was similar to the setting. I guess a little bit about this piece was that it was supposed to explain like a journey, like a path that you take. There's 3 different levels to it, 3 different phases, and this is really specific and personal to me, but I think that I don't like to say specifically what it is because I think that other people can relate better if you don't. I like it when other people can put themselves into the artwork and make it their own. So but I will say a little bit about the intention. The first is supposed to be pretty ominous, a dark time, and then gradually coming out of that into something lighter. My art is abstract and personal, and again, I keep saying this word, but I think that it's just very therapeutic, and that's really what I work from. This work is a series that actually started with this piece right here. The inspiration for it was that originally this canvas was used to make a still life that consisted of a mannequin and some vases and flowers, and it was done at a point in my life where I was in a very different place, and I went back and revisited that work, and I wasn't attached to any of the images. I wanted to change it. I hadn't really invested myself in any of them. So I started going over and creating other images, and it all started with this first canvas, and it was first a series of birds, then silhouettes, then writing, and there was just a million different things, but I just kept going over it, and for some reason I felt compelled to layer over it even when it was an image I was really attached to. So once I completed, you know, however many, probably about 10 different paintings on top of here, I went back and scraped through and used some of these tools to go through and scrape back to the beginning layers, like what it had started with. And I think the process, which I've spoken about, is therapeutic for me. It's going back, and it's kind of, when you're going through it, it's a lot of effort. It's kind of violent but liberating, and I go back until I come up with an image that I feel like represents what the piece should be as a whole. So for me, that means all parts of the past coming together to create what you are today. Like, nothing that you do in the past can ever be erased, so therefore you need to take it and make it into something positive for yourself, a learning experience. So that's what this series is about. And so these other canvases, there's some writing on this one as well, and then a bunch of different images. This one had a lacrosse silhouette in it originally, and painted over, and you know, a bunch of different images. So these are just a few from that series that I have. To me, the role of artists today is primarily to inspire, to have something that makes you think. You don't want to have a million paintings that look the same and you just walk by and just glance at them, because we're so overwhelmed with images, especially in this digital age, that I think sometimes, you know, great artwork can be overlooked. So I think it's something that the best artwork is something that really challenges you, makes you stop and think, and has a meaning behind it, has significant meaning that can reach out and say something to a viewer who isn't necessarily an artist. One piece of advice that a professor at UNC gave to me is that if it looks good, it is good, which is, I think, a great thing to keep in mind when you're doing your work and viewing others. So I really like that. My inspiration comes from many different things, but I think if I had to sum it all up, it would just be lessons learned. I think partially where I am in life right now, it's just like a coming of age kind of experience. That's what's expressed in a lot of my work right now.